So, welcome everybody back to the Phantom Zone. It is the most earth-breaking, ground-shaking, but never media show money taking, the man, the myth, the legend, the most electrifying villain in all of YouTube entertainment today, General Zod. And today I will be doing a quick Halloween review for the movie Sissy, which is a Shudder original, part of their 31 Days of Halloween, releasing these different movies in the spirit of Halloween. So, how do I feel about this movie? Well, this movie was a bit of a shock because I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was. So, a brief little overview of the movie is that a teen best friend, Cecilia and Emma, after a decade run into each other, Cecilia is invited to Emma's bachelorette weekend, where she gets stuck in a remote cabin with her high school bully with a taste for revenge. This was directed by Hannah Barlow and Kane Seeds, and the writers were also Hannah Barlow and Kane Seeds, and it stars Aisha D., Hannah Barlow, and Emma D. Marguerite. So, what do I think about this film? It is surprisingly good. Hannah Barlow, I didn't realize, wrote and directed and starred in this. She plays, I believe, the mean girl in this movie. I just want to make sure. No, she is the friend. So, yeah, she's Emma. So, Hannah Barlow plays Emma, and then Aisha D plays Cecilia. And this movie was surprisingly good to me for a lot of different reasons. So let's go over my positives first and my negatives, and I'll give a score for this thing. So my positives: this was very well shot. The lighting and the effects were pretty good. The gore, you could tell, was practical, except for certain scenes where they used CGI blood. Even when Bitchy came in and saw me watching this, she did notice the CGI blood. So it was a noticeable thing for some of the up close shots, which was a weird choice because a lot of the other effects in this film are practical. You could tell because they do a close up of someone getting their head smashed, and you could see it in all of its glorious, gory details. But for the most part, it looked as if the production team did use practical effects as opposed to CGI, so I appreciated that. The other good part about this is there is some commentary in here well done. Not particularly shoved in your face, but a lot of things about bullying, mental health, about the effects of repressed trauma, about us YouTubers. Great, another fucking movie about YouTubers, but yeah, about the way as influencers we put on a facade. Sometimes we offer advice, even though we might not be the best people to give that advice, but yet there's still an audience for it. There's also a commentary about people who think they know influencers and a willingness to believe things that they see online, and how perception gets skewed depending on whose POV you're seeing it from. I don't want to give too much away, but basically, the things are manipulated in such a way by the end of this film that we have all seen the events that have happened. But if you were to be someone who was subscribed to this person and from the outside world who didn't know, you would make judgments based upon how everything was set up. But in reality, the truth of what happened is far more gruesome, weird, and outlandish. My other thing, which is both a positive and a negative, was the humor. A lot of the jokes in here were funny. A lot of the situations, it was situational humor, and I think most of it, for the most part, landed. Uh, and it did kind of go wacky, and I'll get to that in my negatives, but for the most part, the humor does land fairly well in this weird little, um, you know, tell that they're telling. So I thought the humor did a very good job. I thought a lot of the jokes and stuff and what was going on really did land well. And the acting across the board, I want to give a shout out to Aisha D. I'd never heard of her before. And even Bitchy commented on this. There's a lot of scenes where you have to believe she's this sweet, innocent person, and then flip but still convince you that some of this stuff is an accident, some of this stuff that happens is her, and she has to transition while still being likable. And I think that they handle that very well in this uh, movie. They show you how cruel people can be, and there does come a point where they do hammer home what she's doing is sick, but there's a little bit of sympathy there for her because of how the actresses portray it. And also, she's quite scary. Like, she does this thing with her face. Like, her acting is so on par. Even when she's blogging, where you see this, like, hidden pain and a person who's ready to snap. And then she transitions into like a meek, kind of shy person. She goes through all of these phases, and this is what I'm talking about with good written female characters. She's not one dimensional. I even got to the end of the movie and wanted to know more because there's so much that they give you, yet so much they don't. And they give you enough to sympathize with this character, but not enough to really know what her mind state is or how she gets from point A to point B. It was just a very intriguing look at someone who had always had this kind of psychotic break waiting to happen, and a look, and God help me, I hate to use this, what triggers that break. So it was a very interesting commentary on that. The writer slash director, Hannah Barlow, kudos, because she acted, she wrote, and she directed this movie. Not a lot of people can do it and pull off a character, but she plays Emma very well. I buy her as sort of this really nice person, but maybe made the wrong choices in Friends and a little bit naive to what's going on. And then something happens towards the end of the movie when you kind of realize, and this revelation, because of how she played the character of Emma, the revelation at the end hits harder. I found myself going, oh shit, like, so she played this role so well that when the twist of what's Cecilia had thought their friendship is versus what Emma saw in their friendship and how much she kind of got over what happened, and there's something that happens in the past, it all kind of like hits a brick wall, and it's spectacularly done to where you're like, oh my god, like, I'm pretty good at picking this stuff up, but I had no clue like it would be that crazy to when you get to see, like, wow, these people, every one of them were truly terrible. And a shout out to Emily D. Margareta. I hope I'm saying that last name right. Emily, who plays the mean girl. Hold on, I want to get this right. Alex. She is a bitch, and she plays the role super well. She does both the condescending, backhanded remarks kind of a thing, and the whole straightforward I hate you thing. And she's got a good reason, but she plays the role so well you don't want her to be right. But in all actuality, her character does have a legitimate reason to have the grief that she does towards her, and this animosity and hatred. So it's all a great setup. Now, my only negatives for this film is some of the jokes were kind of weirdly placed. Not all the humor hit with me, might with you. Some of the buzz terminologies that they use, it is supposed to be a play on that culture. Not all of it I thought was placed very well in certain spots, or they threw a joke in where they should have scaled back and made it slightly more serious. But really, that's my only nitpicks, is that sometimes the humor didn't quite land as well as it could have. And the beginning of this and the it's kind of a slower build, like they're setting stuff up, but you have to have patience. The good stuff does happen surprisingly quickly, but it does do a lot of character building before you get to that. You have to pay attention because there's some things that are said while they're on their way to the cabin, and it leads up and is referenced back at the end of the movie. So it's a movie you gotta like pay attention to catch all of the little things. And that's pretty much it for me. And the CGI for some of the blood was a weird choice. That really annoyed me because when you take a movie and do it 90% practical, and then you have weird spots where there's CGI blood, and it's very obviously CGI blood for a production that was so well handled and for using so much practical effect, and then they do a horrible CGI blood splatter. It throws me out of the movie, not by much, but it is noticeable. So overall, what do I think? I think Sissy is a solid movie. Shudder has its movies like Host and things like that it comes out with, where they're really good, solid movies no one talks about, no one's watched. You should go check out this movie out on Shudder. If you don't have a Shudder account, it's only like $4, $5. It's the cheapest streamer that's out there. I really would recommend it because they got some bangers on that channel. They got some exclusive stuff. Some of the best horror to drop this year was in Shudder, and I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if this makes it on my top 10 just for how well made it is. I'm gonna give this movie a 9 out of 10. Most of the humor landed for me. A lot of it was good. Just the CGI and some of the pacing was slightly off. But other than that, this was a solid movie. I really enjoyed it. I thought the actresses all were great in this movie. I thought they did social commentary, but not annoying. And what they were saying had to do with the subject of the movie. It's not heavy-handed and in your face, but it's there if you like commentary. And it's not just on socially, like being triggered and all of that. It's on mental health and being traumatized from experiences in your childhood, and like bullies, and how sometimes they grow up and be successful and they're still just as mean and nasty as they were back in high school. And just like sometimes people change for the better, but other people don't recognize that. They only see one mistake they made and they won't forgive them. I think this, to me, does a better job than Halloween Ends conveyed, doing the same type of deal. So anyways, I'm still getting over being sick, but for the next couple of days, I'm going to shoot some of these videos. My next one coming out is The Descent, and then I'll do The Descent 2, leading up to all of my reviews for Halloween. I think I'm going to cap it off with Terrifier. That has been my favorite, so I want to kind of save the best for last. But I'm going to give you all of these different Halloween movies and shows that you can go check out. Also, my second to last will probably be The Midnight Club because it's the biggest review. And then, yeah, we'll kind of go from there. But thank you, everybody, for watching. I'd like to thank my sponsors, moviepalette.com. Go check them out. Put in the promo code ZONE15 if you want a 15% discount on all movie palettes. Thank you very much for sponsoring the channel and this video. And if you like that, hit like. If you've seen this movie, leave comments in the comments below. Let me know. Have you seen Sissy? What do you think of this movie? Did you not realize it until I said it? Anyways, leave all your comments below. And as always, remember the only rule here in the fandom zone: kneel before the